Okay, here are the math journal pages for lesson 8-1. So as you can see, there are two sets of journal pages with kind of lengthy questions. So I am going to split this up into two different videos. So this is called Cracking a Number Code. So every year, Blythe Elementary School holds a contest. Each class is given 7 problems about the school. The answers are part of a code that tells where the hidden prize is located. The class that cracks the code and gets to the location first wins the prize. Help Mrs. Fitzgerald's class win the prize by solving the problems below and cracking the code. So since I'm splitting this up into two videos, you're going to have to find out what the answer to the code is in the next video. So let's do problem number 1. The school custodian, Mr. Granger, brought every pencil he found on the floor this week to the school lost and found. At the end of the week, there was 126 pencils in the lost and found. Mr. Granger said he found 3 pencils in one classroom and 5 pencils in each of 3 classrooms. Then he found an equal number of pencils in each of the 9 remaining classrooms. How many pencils did he find in each of those classrooms? So let's circle what we already know. We already know that he found 126 pencils and he put them in the lost and found. Now, where did he find those pencils? Well, he found 3 pencils from one classroom, 5 pencils in each of the 3 classrooms, and then he found an equal number of pencils in each of the remaining 9 classrooms. So there's a few things that we have to do. So we know how many total pencils he found, right? He found 126. So I'm going to write my number model up here so I have room to work. He found 126 pencils in total. He found 3 pencils in one classroom, so we could subtract that amount. He found 3 pencils in one classroom. Then he found 5 pencils in each of the 3 classes. So we could subtract whatever that total is. So we would have to do 5 times 3 because he found 5 pencils in 3 of those classrooms. Again, we're all subtracting from this total of 126. Then that whole entire total of what's left, how many pencils are left, you're going to divide by 9 because it says that he had the equal number of pencils in the 9 remaining classrooms that he cleaned. So let's do this math. So if I did 126 minus 3, I would get 123. Now I know that 5 times 3 is 15, so now I'm going to subtract 15. I'm going to make this a 13, and I borrowed from here, so I'm going to make this now 11, and this is 0. So 13 minus 5 is 8. And then 11 minus 1 is 10. Because 123 minus 5 is, oh, sorry, this is supposed to be an 11. You get 118. So now I have 118 divided by 9. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to double check my math because I think I made a mistake. See, it's always good to go back and double check. So you would get 123 minus 15. Oh, Miss Wolf was right. It was 108, not 118. Sorry, guys. I always like to double check my math. Okay, so 9 divided by 108. I'm going to do just the traditional way because I don't have enough room to do partial quotient. So I know 9 can't go into 1 because it's too big, but 9 can go into 10 one time because 1 times 9 is 9. And I'm left with 10 minus 9 is 1, and I'm going to bring down that 18, and I know that 9 can go into 18 2 times because 9 times 2 is 18. And I have no remainder, which I know I shouldn't because it says equal number of pencils. So how many pencils did he find in each of those 9 classrooms? He found 12 pencils in each of those 9 classrooms. And I'm actually going to rewrite my number model here on the bottom. So we took the total, we subtract the first classroom pencil, minus how many pencils were found in the next 3 classrooms, and then divided all of that by the remaining 9 classrooms. Okay, so we cracked that code for number 1. Number 2, Mr. Granger walked by the cafeteria after lunch. He saw that the chairs around the 9 tables had been moved. He saw 12 chairs at each of the 5 tables, 5 chairs at each of the 3 tables, and 6 chairs at 1 table. He moved the chairs so that each table had the same number. How many chairs did he put at each table? Well, the first thing we need to do is figure out how many chairs in total are in the cafeteria for the 9 tables, so then we can put them into the 9 tables evenly. So to do that, we're going to have to do some addition and multiplying. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to figure out how many chairs were at 5 tables, because it says 12 chairs at each of the 5 tables. So that means we would do 12 times 5. Now, I'm going to put this in parentheses because we're going to be adding, because he had 5 chairs at each of the 3 tables. So you have to do 5 times 3. And you're then going to add again the 6 chairs he found at 1 table, because you're not going to do 6 times 1 because we already know it would be 6. So whatever that total is, you're then going to divide by 9, because there's 9 tables and you have to put the chairs evenly at those 9 tables. So let's figure out how many tables there are altogether. So if you did 12 times 5, you get 60, plus 5 times 3, which is 15, plus 6. So if I did 60 plus 15, I get 75, plus 6 is 81. And I'm going to divide all of that by 9. So 81 divided by 9, I know is 9, because 9 times 9 is 81. So there should be 9 chairs at each table. Okay, let's look at number 3. Each year, students enter artwork in a state competition. This year, there was 137 winners. Of these, 25 came from private and home schools. The rest were from 8 school districts. Each district had the same number of winners, so that's really important, the same number of winners. The winners from our school district came from 7 schools, including ours. All of the schools in the district had the same number of winners. Now, this seems very complicated, but if you know what they're asking for, you can work backwards to solve. So they're asking for how many students from our school were winners. Well, what do we have to know in order to figure that out? Well, we have to take that 137, which is the total winners for the whole year, and we have to subtract those students that came from private and home schools, because they didn't come from the school district that they're talking about. So we have to, that's our first thing that we have to do. We have to subtract that. And then, whatever this total is, it says the rest were from 8 school districts. So we have to take that total number and we have to divide by 8. Now, it says each of those 8 school districts have the same number of winners. The winners from our school district, which is one of the 8, came from 7 schools, including ours. All of the school districts had the same amount. So, this is going to give you the total of kids that came from public school. This is going to give you how many kids from each school district won. And then you have to divide by 7 to figure out because there's 7 schools to figure out how many from your school won. So let's do some of that math. If I did 137 minus 25, I know that 7 minus 5 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1, and then 1. So 112. So I'm going to change my color here. So this should be 112 now divided by 8. So I'm going to erase this. 8 divided by 112. So 8 can't go into 1. So we're going to move over to 11. 8 can go into 11 one time, because 1 times 8 is 8. 11 minus 8 is 3. And I bring down that 2. 8 can go into 32 4 times. So 112 divided by 8 is 14. And then you have to divide that by 7. How many schools are in that district, including yours? And it shows that there were 2 students from your school that won. 2 students from your school. Okay, last one on this page. There are 346 students in school. In the morning, many students go to special classes. 21 go to music, 16 go to technology, 24 go to gym, 19 to art, and 10 to Spanish. The rest stay in regular classes. 8 regular classes each have 27 students. The rest of the regular classes only have 8 students. How many total teachers are in the school? So this is a little bit more complicated. So the first thing you have to figure out is how many teachers do they need? So you are going to figure out how many classes they go to. And I know that they go to music, technology, gym, art, and Spanish. So that's 5 classes. And then, so they need 5 teachers to teach those classes. But then, the rest of the classes, there's 8 regular classes that have 27 students. So they need 8 teachers to teach those classes. So this is going to be how we figure that out. But we don't know how many other regular classes only have 8 students. That's what we need to figure out. So we need to figure out how many students, how many groups of students do they have left over after all of these special classes. So you're going to take, now keep this in mind, I'm going to put this in a box here so we don't forget. You're going to take the 346 students in the school, and you're going to subtract the 21 students that go to music, the 16 students that go to technology, the 16 students that go to technology, the 24 students that go to gym, the 19 students that go to art, the 10 that go to Spanish, and you're going to figure out what that is. Now, Miss Mold is going to do this on a calculator just so this video isn't super long, but you guys should be doing this on a scrap paper. Okay, now I'm going to double check this one more time. So if I do 346 minus 21, I get 325, minus 16, which is 309, minus 24, which is 285, minus 19, which is 266, minus 10. So I'm left with, I'm going to actually move it over here so I have more room, 256. So after all the students go to their art, technology, and all those classes, you're left with 256 students. We know that 8 of those there's 8 regular ed classes that have 27 students. So you would do 27 times 8 to figure out how many students attend those classes, because then you have to subtract that by the 256. So 7 times 8 is 56. And then 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 5 is 216 kids participate in those 8 regular classes. So now I have to subtract 216 minus the kids that are left after we went through all of those classes. So 6 minus 6 is 0, 5 minus 1 is 4, 2 minus 2 is 0. So now I'm left with 40 kids. I'm left with 40 kids. And I just want to double check my math. Great. So hold on one second. So I have 40 kids. Now, the rest of these 40 kids are in regular classes that only have 8 students in a class. So I need to take that 40 and make groups of 8. So I would do that by 8 divided by 40. And I know 8 times 5 is 40. So they need 5 more teachers to teach the rest of the kids. So let's backtrack a little bit. You need 5 teachers to teach music, technology, gym, art, and Spanish. You need 8 teachers to teach the 8 regular classes that have 27 students. In order to find out how many more teachers you needed to figure out how many kids were left over after all of those classes, which we did. We found out it was 40. And we did 40 divided by 8 because there's 8 kids in those classes, and we were left with 5. So now we have to add those 5 additional teachers to the numbers we set aside. So 5 times 5 is 10, plus 8 is 18. You need a total of 18 teachers in this school for all of these classes. Okay, so far, the numbers we needed to crack our code are 12, 9, 2, and 18. So let's see if we can crack it in the next video.